Coming home, wait for me. Time goes by so slowly. Time can do so much. Are you still mine? I need your love. I need your love. Godspeed your love to me. Godspeed your love to me. Roll. It's been a long, long time. To September. Da 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 da, bum 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 bum. Down to all of me. When I take all of me, can't you see? No good without you. My arms, then take my lips. I want to use them. Your goodbye left me with eyes that cry. Know that I no good without you. You took the part that once was my heart. Now take all of me, dee dee, all of me, of me. Once was my heart. Why not take all of me? All of me. Take all of me. Can't you see? Without you, my heart, I'll never lose them. Take my lips, I'll never use them. Your goodbye left me with eyes that cry. Know that I am no good without you. You took my heart that once was my heart. So why not take all of me? Why not take all of me?
All right, let's get going. Let's get going. Oh, shoot. Once more into the breach. That once was my heart. All right, let's go back at it. Hey, Jeff, Grimm, good to see you, and Steve, and T. Alex, and Pat, and Fast Eddie, and Clay, and Steve again, and Marty Party. Brandon Neely, wow, had a friend, had 50,000 shares, got wiped out today. He put a stop loss in for 25. Oh boy. Oh boy. You don't want to put stop losses in. If he can, if you can convince him, I mean, maybe the stock will go lower. I showed you the chart. I'll show it to you right now again. You have, well, he wouldn't know, but I mean, this is the old chart I showed you, that green line. That's where they took it. But at the bottom, let me show you the other chart I showed you. I showed you this, I think, yesterday. And I told you this line here, they're trying to break it down. And I think they've done it. However, I think today's trading, some of it looks real. And so you just confirmed it. 50,000 of it was real. You don't want stop loss. That's what happens. They come take your stock. They love it. They just love it. Well, so he lost money. He probably lost 50% of his money, maybe 45%. And he's done. Well, I guess he's done. But the potential of the sell-off, the green is the top of this resistance back here, which becomes support. But then the yellow is what they're trying to get into, and that goes all the way down to 25 cents. It's 25 cents to 27.50. And, you know, on any spike, they can get that done. I'm sorry he had a stop loss in there. I'll take it off our list. But I wish he, you know, he's going to buy back at a higher price. So he'll end up with fewer shares. But this is the day trading strategy that you're taught. And Railtown's not a day trading stock. Now, I had somebody get really adamant with me up here at this price above the red line, that, you know, the company is in trouble. There's no leadership. Technology moves quickly. They can't even close a deal like AIP. How do you know they're going to ever get anything done? That kind of thing. And you know what? He was exactly right. In his gut was telling him that the stock was going to come under pressure. And he was right. But where he and I differ, and others, I differ with others too, is this is all the constant pressure of short selling. Without that short selling, this stock would have stayed up in these ranges up here in the past, based on optimism and research and having retail brokers recommending it. But there are no retail brokers, so you get this downtrend that is unrelenting. Anyway, you don't put in stop loss orders. Now, if he had sold, I didn't agree with him, so I was wrong. But if he had sold, then he could be buying back down here. Or if we had sold up at these higher numbers, we could be buying back down here at more shares. I personally thought, it's easy to see in retrospect, but I continue to think, as soon as buying comes in, this stock's going to snap back up like somebody stepped on the front end of a rake, and the handle's going to come up and hit some people upside their nose and cheek rapidly. This thing's going to go up. But stop loss, he put the stop loss exactly where the support is. This yellow line, this whole yellow. And he just didn't want to see it go lower. Well, it's not going to go lower. I mean, it could in any one day. It could by the end of the year. You've got tax loss selling. You've got people like your friend just getting out because they don't know the story. They don't really believe in it. And there's no news coming from the company. There's no news coming from TELUS. We're going into the holiday season, and we just want news now. We want the holidays. Turn on those machines. We want results now. Well, it's just not going to be that way. We've got at least 2 weeks, probably 3 weeks, to just ride out the storm, and it can go lower. But we know the reasons why. Well, he's going to regret having done that in my judgment. But Brandon, you're not going to be able to tell him. You're not going to be able to tell him to buy it back. So he locked in a loss, and that's what the day traders teach. Don't lose more than X percent. Get out. You get into another stock. That's how they teach it. But this isn't a day trading stock. I'm sorry he lost money. I really don't recommend putting in stop loss orders on Railtown. On the other hand, just like my stock price projections, I was wrong this year on the idea that the stock you couldn't sell it and then trade it, buy it back. Turns out you could do it all year, the last half of the year. And, it gets really boring to me. I hope it's not boring to you. But the reason is Dr. Tom Core is a professor, and he's really brilliant, but he's never run a public company before. He's never organized getting votes on an approval before. He hired a legal team that had to prove how smart they were. And he took a long time. Yes, it's Corey's mistake to put leadership over to Dr. Tom Core. But how do you know that Corey's time wasn't spent better locking down the details of a TELUS arrangement? I have no idea. We don't. So we know there's no news. We know it's a blackout period on buying. We know that the AI deal took forever, but now we're not even clear that was all the news that was necessary. So we know it, and your friend sells out. We know the end of the year is tax loss selling. We know the end of the year is vacations. Well, the shorts have come on here over and over and over again, telling us they're going to take it down. We know that selling is constant of shares that do not exist. So we put a stop loss in and we're out. It's smart to do for a day trader, but Railtown's not a day trading stock. He doesn't believe in the story, so I don't think you can get him to go back into it. Right now, he got out at 25 cents. He'd have to pay 27 cents to get back in. So I don't know, 50,000 shares. He'd be down $1,000 to get back in. And he'd probably only buy about 47,000 back, but he's not going to do that. So he's going to miss the trade. He's going to miss the upside. But that's the cost. Our markets are unlike they ever were before. And this is a reason never to trade after Railtown works. That's my judgment. But you know what? Many of you might be getting out. Many people might just put the deadline of the year, the calendar year, and say, I'm going to get out. There has to be a capitulation. There's got to be a lot of people that are just sick of it and just get out, have stop loss orders, tax loss selling, can't stand that William is talking about the same thing. And there'll be this capitulation. There'll be a final blow-off sell down. It'll be aided by the criminal collusion of the sellers who sell shares that they borrow in triplicate and quadruplicate and tenplicate and 20plicate. But we just cannot, we just are unable to divorce ourselves from what we're seeing in the stock price. We look at it, we say, oh my God, that stock price, there's something wrong. I mean, obviously, if I had told you, which I should have, when it broke down at 40 cents, why don't you sell it? Why don't we collectively sell it and then all put in orders to buy it back at 29 cents, you know? But that's so clear now to see in retrospect. I did not know that AIP would take as long as it did. It turns out maybe that's not even the critical breakout. I didn't know that TELUS had to announce their community service and World for the Better projects first before business, but that's the fact. I do know holidays are here, so I can assure you, Brandon, that the pressure is going to be for the next week or two until December 31st. The selling is going to be, it's going to be like a big rock on top of this stock price. Tax loss selling. Just people that are disgusted with me and it are going to sell. There's going to be perhaps advisors saying, you know, you should just get out of this. I've got this glossy financial plan for you. Why don't you just get out of this and we'll go into the JP Morgan invest like a hedge fund plus bust trust fund. And, you know, there's going to be a lot of that. And then there's going to be people with stop loss orders. So what he did my guess is he stopped out probably at or around the low in the stock. And it's just, they love it. They love it. They sell the stock down with false shares, colluding, and they love to trigger those. And so he got abused. There's I don't know what happens to the trading days. Donald Trump called a holiday, but I think the trading days will stay the same because the market, it will never, Ham taught me that, the market will never close for more than 3 days, including the weekend. They don't want settlement problems. So after today, you know, Donald Trump called December 23rd a holiday and December 24th a federal holiday and December 26th. If that somehow translates to the market, and it'll almost certainly translate to how many people are sitting at the desks, you really only have 2 full trading days next week. The following week, you've got 2 full trading days prior to the end of the year. Now, if the 24th and the 26th are half days or ghost teams on Wall Street, you're going to have the 24th and the 26th, very low volume, and you'll have the 31st, New Year's Eve. Those 3 days, there will be pressure from the criminals. And there'll be people just getting out, disgusted. Their tax advisor will say, you know, you need a tax loss, and they'll get out. Remember, sellers may have reasons to sell that has nothing to do with the story of Railtown. But it's going to be short-term, exquisite pressure. And I don't personally expect this pressure to lay off of me until there's more blowback. And it's just how it's going to be. The market somehow always can tell when you're stressed or when you're down to your last sinew of strength to hold on. It just always happens. And we're in that right now. And we can't wish it away. We can't make it go away. We can't go back and say, you know, I never should have listened to William and I wish I'd never bought it. We can't go back and say, I wish I had sold it and bought it back. Bill Miko predicted that it would go to, he may have said 28, 32. He was right. But you know, I never said the stock would go straight up. I never promised you a rose garden. You've got to look before you leap. Still waters run deep. And there won't always be someone there to pull you out. You know what I'm talking about. So smile for a while and let's be jolly. Life shouldn't be so melancholy. Come along and something while we can, and I beg your pardon. Anyway, Brandon, I wish he had an order in to buy the stock at 25 cents, not an order in to sell it. So I don't know what I can do. He's not going to buy it back. So that's the trade. That's going to be his experience in Railtown, and it's going to bother me. I feel badly about it. I think 24 7/8 is going to be the low. They traded, or 3/4. We'll look at it. They traded 5,000 shares there today. Real or not, that was it. But the volume today is almost 500,000 shares. And if we get close to 1 million by the end of the day, this could be the capitulation. But it's probably not. It's probably not. Someone's going to just have to sell 500,000 shares, 1 million shares at market. I just can't stand it anymore. Get me out. And that could be the turning point. But until then, it's going to be painful. They sell every day. If you haven't picked up on it, their goal, for example, today, it goes from 28 down to 24.75. It's 500,000 shares. If they got 400,000 shares off, such that they made 2.5 cents, it's $5,000. It's better than and they took it. I'm sorry, from your friend. Let me show you. Let me show you today's trading as best I can show you up until I went for a walk, a long walk. So it's going to miss some of it. But the stock did all of its major trading probably within 25 minutes of the opening. The rest is normal. But the hits keep coming. Yeah, I know. I have too many files. I got it. Too many files. So at 9:32, you can see here at 9:30, there were 500 shares traded. 9:30 to 345 shares traded at 29.01. And then at 9:32, 9,000 shares went off at 28.51. I'm sure that was the bid. I don't know for sure, but my guess is that was the bid. And then somebody went in probably to buy 710 shares, or that's communication. And then at 9:33, 41,000 shares went off at 28.62. That's probably was the bid, forcing it down, testing to see if there's stop limit orders under the market. So at 9:32, 9:33 basically, 41,000 shares went off at 28.62. Somebody came in, although it shows neutral over here, somebody came in at 28 cents for 2,500 shares. 9:33 green, somebody bought 630 shares at 28.99. And then boom, hit the bid, 2,500 shares, 27.12 at 9:33.26. At 9:33.26, somebody else quickly rapid fire sold 1,500 shares at 26.33. And you can see that down here. And then 20,000 came in. Had to be out on the bid. Now, 20,000 could be tax loss selling. It could be real. On the other hand, we'll never know. And Wagner doesn't want you to know. So 933.26, 20,000 hit, I believe, hit the bid at 25.7. Somebody came in to buy 3,000 at 933.28, 27.12. Bam! Hit the bid. 25.5, 3,900, 933.28. We're 4 minutes into the trading day. 4 minutes. And remember, maybe I need to read it to you again. But these people, how many times in your life do you see sellers want the worst price? They always want the worst price. And they'll give excuses. Oh, we're crossing with somebody, helping them out for a tax sale. No, they're crushing it. Nobody believes it, that people are this cruel and this evil. They're just machines. And anyway, here you go, Brandon, up here at 933.28 was the first trade at 25 cents. Now, that may or may not have been your friend, because maybe somebody else, I think, rather ill-advisedly may have put in a stop loss order. They want to come out down and trigger stop loss orders. But you've known that for years, at least 2 years, maybe 3 years you've known that. Anyway, at 9:45, let me see, I can't, we might have missed a trade. I don't think so. But at 9:45, 500 went off at 28, somebody bought. 28.09, neutral trade at 9:02, I think that's communication. At 9:46, 9,000 shares went off at 27.58. And then at 9:46, 5,000 shares went green at 27.66. $946.47, 25,000 shares go off at 27.66. Seems neutral because they have it in the gray. 8,000 go off at 27.66. I wouldn't put it past someone to have bought your friend's shares at 25 cents, and now they're selling it 3 cents higher. They love it. They love it. Your friend got abused. He thinks he's doing something smart, which I'm not making fun of him. It should be smart, but it's not. This market is corrupt. But so you gotta make allowances for that. This downsell in this stock doesn't mean anything. It's just short-term pain that could get worse, but it's certainly been really bad for the last 3 weeks. It's tension city, and people give up. And you can't blame them. But I would guess if it, let's keep looking for the 50,000 shares. It's possible somehow I missed it, but I don't think so. It was hard to get these pictures. But if I did miss it, they just crossed 25 at 20, almost 28 cents. They make 3 cents on 25,000. It's a good day. And that's just in the first hour of trading. So at 9:46, at 9:46, 2,500 sold at 27.4, and then 200, 2,500 green. Somebody bought at 27.66. 500, 9,000 went off at 27.01, 947, 41,000 went off at 27. That could be 2 cents that the computers made at the expense of your friend. But I think this trade here, this 50,000 is the cross, I guess. Somebody bought your friend's stock at 25 cents, sold it at 27.58. It's my guess. But we'll never know. At 947, 41,000 went off at 27.01. 948, 50,000 went off at 27.58. 949, 9,000 went off at 27.1. 949, 17,000 went off at 27.1. At 949, 5,000 went off at 27.1. 949, 5,000 went off at 27.1. These 5,000s to me seem like coordinated selling, but the 17 and the 9 and the 50 and the 41 could be real trades. We know Van Wagner approved the audited trail. 949, 949, 949, 949, 949, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 4,000. To me, that's all manipulation. And then it slows down. 949, 5,000, 949, 4,000, 952, 732 shares, 952, 2,000 shares, 953, 3,000 shares as a buy, 28.04. Then you have at 953 a sell at 27.6 for 9,400. 953.14 a cross that looks like 5,000. 953 2,500, both done at 27.1. Collusion, crossing, manipulation, swapping accounts, changing, readjusting the trade date or the settlement date. That's what I think happened there. 953, 3,000 at 27.01. 953.32, 5,000 at 27. 953.39, 4,000 at 27. 953.40, 1,000 at 27.31. $954, 5,000 at 25.01. 954, 1,600 at 25.01. 954, 1,000 at 25.01. They know your friend's order is there. They know about it. They see it. It's just like, hey, come rate me. 954, 3,000 shares as a buy, 26.75. Then 954.06, a sell, 200 shares at 26. And here we go. 954, 100 shares at 25 cents. Somebody had to get out of $25 a stock. They're coming for your friend's stock. They're coming for it. And then the next trade, 954, 21,000 shares go off at 25. And do you see the difference between 954.11 and 954.14? That's the flash boy trading. They could have purchased the stock from your friend at 25 and then sold 3,500 at 25.01. making 0.0001 on the stock. Very short-term opportunity. They come down and pluck the stock from your friend. I don't know if that was his order. And quickly flip it, and they go flat. And it's flash boy crap. And at the end of the day, they can say we were neutral. I think I already showed you this one. I did. That's oh God. Very hard to read. Very hard to read. All right, let me just go like this. I don't know if it's going to be duplicates or if I'm skipping anything. Yeah, we saw this one. So they get 100 shares off at 25. And then that causes the computers to cross at fill your friend's order. Maybe. Never know. So at 954, 21,000 go off at 25. 954.14, 3,500 make a profit of 0.0001. 954.17, 10,000 more go off at 25. 954.30, 5,000 go off at 25. So right there, you've got basically 24.5, 34.5. No, sorry. 25. Sorry. 21 plus 10 is 31, and 5 is 36. And I forget how much traded at 100. So that's your friend getting filled probably. Then the only trade that traded at 24.75 is this one that I can see. There might be dark pool stuff. 5,000 shares went off at 24.75. My guess is somebody had a stop limit there as well. So that's the low one of the day, 5,000 shares out of 500,000. Somebody bought 20 shares at 10 o'clock for 26. Well, I don't know if they bought or if it was crossed. And then 1,400 shares were purchased at 10:06 at 27.11. 70 shares, 4 shares. That's all communication. It's all communication, is my guess. But we continue to think the stock price is telling us something because we can't help it. We just can't help it. Here's the 4 shares at 10:07. 10:32, 500 shares, 27.33. 10:34, 3,500 shares, 27.37. 10:36, 1,500 shares at 27.49. 3,000 shares, 27.49. 3,000 shares. That's starting to seem like collusion there. But you never know. And then this is the same picture again. I just highlighted 4 shares. And that's where I stopped. That's where I stopped on that. I don't know what to tell you, Brandon. He's got to feel good he's out of it, so he doesn't have to worry anymore, and he can have a good Christmas. He can't stress, he won't be able to stress about it going down any further. Today's low was 24.75. The 52-week low is 22 cents. So if you go back to this chart, 22 cents is below this chart. It's below this page, but or it's right here. You know, it's right at the bottom of the page. But this yellow is 25 to 27.5. Over here, that was resistance getting through the green, but that becomes support, or rather, you know, it looks like a big trading range, but it's only a penny and a half, 2 pennies, 2.5 pennies even. And they punctured it down today. And so your friend Brandon is saved from the next 2 weeks of going sideways, possibly further attempts. This line that I drew yesterday here did not hold today. So they may try it to go down again. And so he's saved himself from that. But as soon as tax loss season is over, when does it end, Brandon? Why do people sell for tax losses at the end of the year? Is their selling required by the end of the year if they want to establish tax losses in 2025? So what's on their mind? Establishing a tax loss or getting the best price? I'll leave you to decide that. But what happens on January 5th? Maybe even January 2nd, if people come back to their desks. But what happens then, Brandon? The tax loss selling goes away. That source of selling disappears. I would say the criminals will still try to bob and weave for January 2nd. I don't think anyone in Canada will come back from vacation until January 6th. At the earliest, it might take until the 7th. I think people will be checking their inboxes, talking to their friends, and, you know, taking it easy. So I don't really think there's going to be a focus on buying in this stock, if it's even possible, until January 12th or later. And so during that time, there could be more attempts at selling. But the odds are, once buying can come in, and I'm going to guess that's the second or third week of January, your friend is going to, you know, he'll have a chance to buy the stock. It'll be at 50 cents or 60 cents. He can buy back half his position at 50 cents. But maybe that'll make him more comfortable, because at that point the stock will be going up and he won't have the stress. So I feel very badly. I don't know. He lost. He probably lost 20 grand. No, maybe more than that. He may have lost, no, 12.5 grand, right? Let me just do it. If he bought it at 50 cents, Yeah, he lost $12,500. He's not going to make that back in cash. But then again, he's going to feel comfortable that the stock won't come down to the bottom of this page at 22 cents. That's, back here in May, it did that. What's changed since May? We know the revenue that's coming, but we have a good idea, some of it. Anyway, I feel badly, Brandon. I can't change it, unfortunately. People think they're oh, you never gave him? Okay, good. Then I don't have to take him off. Okay. That's good. Our number, Brandon, went up. I didn't write it down. Let me write it down. Our number did go up yesterday and over the weekend. So I'm glad I don't have to take it off. That's great. Because the number's pretty amazing. Running out of pages that I haven't written on. I'm not sure I have any pages left. I have to get a different way of showing it to you. So Brandon, look how much we have. We're getting very close to 17 million shares. We're at 16,789,000. That's the good, that's the silver lining of this nightmare for the last 3 weeks. And it is a nightmare. Pat M, I bought 10 more on this dip. Good for you, Pat. At 25, wow. You got it at 25? Wow. That's awesome. Good for you. That's exactly what to do. You got to get plumb mad dog mean and just buy into the teeth of this. Just buy or hold. It feels better to buy some. I wish I had money. I'd be buying right now. Brandon Neely, I almost put a stop loss on all my shares thinking it was our last chance to buy this under 30 cents, but I didn't. I'm glad you didn't. I'm a little confused. Oh, because you thought it would go below 30 cents so you could buy more maybe. Yeah, I'm glad you didn't. It's very difficult to do it. AC stocks bought more yesterday, still holding strong. Don't sell or put stop losses, people. Just my opinion. And look at that cat. It's exactly right. The stop losses, they see it. You don't. And they work it down, they walk it down, they cheat it down, and it's essentially legal because no one stops them. And they come take your shares. Somebody took your friend's shares today at 25 cents. I mean, it may or may not end up being the low in December. You know, it's always possible on Monday or Christmas Eve or the Friday after Christmas, they'll do worse. But it could be they got your friend's shares at essentially the low in December. You know, I guess good on them. I hate them. I hate all that computerized trading, and I hate that he lost money. Oh, he was in around 36. So he lost 5,500. That's different. Up here, you say he got wiped out. I mean, $5,500 for me, it's a lot of money, but it's not really being wiped out. Brandon Neely, sorry, I haven't been on this week. What came of the meeting this week? Well, maybe I still have it. Maybe I still have it. Maybe we should. Maybe we should. Maybe we should. Well, there was this. Railtown has achieved SOC 2 certification again, following a rigorous audit. That wasn't, I'm sure they talked about that at the meeting. But then Lavender posted this yesterday. Somebody sent it to me. Brandon, he went to the meeting. Lavender went to the meeting. A special shout out to Corey Brandolini and the entire Railtown AI team. You all are knocking this out of the park. Corey delivered a phenomenal presentation explaining the history of Railtown AI from how it started to where it is today. Railtown AI is an investment. I'm sure of that now, as opposed, I suppose, to a day trade. Lavender continued. After the annual meeting, Corey took about 90 minutes with shareholders and explained in great detail the journey, the tools in which Railtown AI has developed. I think there should be some commas here. So he explained in great detail the journey. He explained in great detail the tools which Railtown AI has developed. He explained in great detail that those tools are battle tested. And of course, he pointed out they earned the SOC 2 certificate, which is critical when you're going out selling your product. And then Lavender points out that AI should be in everybody's portfolio in 26. And then finally, Brandon, Lavender said, think of when the personal computer hit the markets. So basically, that's the length of the bull market. It's about 40 years, 35, 40 years. all of that, he's arguing, and I guess that's what Corey must have said, all of that time will be purged and replaced with AI. I suppose we're just going to have little receivers and the computing will all be in the cloud. But anyway, I don't know that. I'm not a technical guy. Telus just didn't throw darts to pick Railtown. They didn't just blindfold themselves and throw darts at a wall and end up with Railtown AI. Telus selected Railtown because of the software tools Railtown has, which meet the goals within the Canadian AI ecosystem. So I would say, Brandon, that was a good meeting. And then Patience Pays at Patience Swings says at 30 cents. And of course he was wrong. It went to 24.75. How could he be such an idiot? I'm just kidding. Nobody knows. You know, at any given time, a stock can go down. What you got to have in your head is, what do you think the overall enterprise is worth? And divide it by the number of shares outstanding, and that's your target. Patience Plays. Good to see a level of sanity and common sense returning to the discussion. I guess he's talking about me. I don't know. If you're sitting on a gold mine, in other words, I think he's talking about Railtown. And Railtown is sitting on a gold mine. Are you going to tell the world before you start printing revenue? So he takes the lack of information as preparation, as Railtown revving its engines, and it's going to come out of the gate roaring sometime in the first or second quarter. My summary, my expectation, soon enough, all the questions will be addressed. The market will realize delays have not led to denials. I guess what he means is the company has not had to readjust the story negatively. The opportunity not only hasn't changed, but the opportunity is even better than you once expected. This is an investment, not a trade. Always has been. Okay, Ward Richardson. Rail engine coming to your nearby AI data center soon. So Ward sent me some things that I think I have here, and we can go through them. It's only 4 pages. But it might help. Might help. Taking a while to download. Let me take that comment down. Ward sent this query to me. Railtown AI's rail tracks stands out as the most suitable option among conductor rail tracks and the upcoming rail engine for handling AI data tasks. Railtown serves as a universal data ingestion engine optimized for unstructured event data, making it ideal for pre-processing and structuring data used in AI workflows like RAG and real-time analytics. Conductor functions as an AI assistant for developers, focusing on error resolution, ticket generation, and application insights through its platform, including features like auto triage and root cause agent. RailTrax excels in data ingestion, cleaning, and transformation from diverse sources into query-ready formats for AI applications. Rail Engine, as a forthcoming product, lacks detailed public information, but appears positioned as an advancement in Railtown's AI engine lineup, potentially building on existing tools. Suitability for AI data. AI data processing typically requires robust ingestion and structuring of unstructured inputs, where RailTrax directly aligns by supporting LLM integration, low T, hits a new low, and analytic pipelines. Conductor prioritizes developer productivity and CI/CD observability over raw data handling. Without specifics on Rail Engine's release, RailTrax offers the cleanest fit for immediate AI data needs in enterprise environments. Next query. Railtown AI's engine, as an upcoming product, builds on RailTrax and Conductor by introducing advanced execution capabilities for agentic AI workflows. Limited public details exist because of its pre-release status, but it appears to enhance data processing with autonomous task orchestration beyond RailTrax ingestion focus. RailTrax specializes in universal data ingestion, cleaning, and transformation for unstructured data into AI-ready formats, supporting RAG and real-time pipelines. Conductor provides developer-centric AI assistance, including auto triage, root cause analytics, and CI/CD observability. Rail Engine executes layers like dynamic agent routing and multimodal model inference engines, enabling end-to-end AI data pipelines with reduced latency. Key additions in Rail Engine: agentic execution automates complex multi-step data tasks across large language models, unlike RailTrax static ingestion or Conductor's diagnostic tools. Rail Engine has real-time optimization. It integrates inference acceleration, surpassing RailTrax pre-processing for live AI data environments. Rail Engine has scalable orchestration, handles enterprise-scale data flows with built-in fault tolerance, extending beyond Conductor's app insights. Railtown Rail Engine positions as the most comprehensive for full AI data stacks pending its launch details. Public pricing for Rail Engine, Rail Tracks, and Conductor is not broken out separately. I don't know if we'll ever know that number, at least as far as TELUS is concerned. We might know, I showed you yesterday, Langtrax had 3 different categories on their website. Railtown might do that. They put up, beginner, moderate and experienced, or whatever the range is. And yesterday, Langchain's pricing seemed to be about $380 a seat annually. And they had a huge amount of users. Obviously, some of them are free, but TELUS has 20 million connections. Now, I don't know what that means. Does that mean a customer that has TELUS for internet, TELUS for mobile phone, TELUS for their car, TELUS for their work? Maybe that's 3 or 4 connections, but it's one user, and that user might not be a developer. So I don't know how to translate 20 million connections into what is the audience. But man, I mean, 1% would be 200,000. All right. What is known about pricing? Railtown uses usage and scale-based SAS pricing positioned as a high margin, that's great news, high margin, multi-product platform sold to dev teams or enterprises rather than one-off licenses per module. Conductor is the flagship, quote unquote, application general intelligence platform and is sold as the core subscription. Other capabilities like data frameworks are typically bundled or added for larger deployments rather than priced as consumer-style add-ons. Investor materials emphasize annual recurring revenue growth and high margin SaaS economics, but do not disclose separate list prices or differentials between Conductor, Rail Tracks, or any new agentic frameworks such as Rail Engine. In practice, Conductor is likely the base platform line item, with Rail Tracks and Rail Engine positioned as framework/features, which change tiering and contract size, seats, data volume, events, or environments, rather than completely being distinct as standalone SKUs. And the last question, or this continues on that question. Any price differences between using Rail Tracks versus adding Rail Engine will likely show up as higher plan tier or enterprise contract, higher metered allowances, or possibly separate framework or enterprise AI bundles. And then it go on to talk about how you can get specific pricing, but I don't think it helps us here. But it certainly is. It certainly is exciting if you see the growth in LangChain's users base. When I read it to you yesterday, I'll try to find it again if I don't forget. But if Railtown experiences that kind of user growth with what looks like $300 to $400 a seat as the charge, that's all outside of the hosting numbers we've gone through. It's pretty exciting. I mean, the way LangChain does it, I'll try to show that to you again. You go to their website, and it's like signing up for any app. You have the choice of free, basic, and professional. And it looks pretty simple. Hit a blue thing, give your credit card, and then you have a monthly debit that you can never get rid of. That's how it happens with me. I never am able to cancel them. But what it could mean, if Railtown is set up the way LangChain is, it could mean that article we read yesterday, LangChain was adding something like 70,000 new users every month. I mean, what if Railtown comes out of the box adding tens of thousands a month? If that's visible, which I don't think will be told about it, but if that's visible to a Microsoft or somebody who asks, or who owns GitHub, and Railtown puts a lot of its stuff through the GitHub, those are going to be tremendous growth rates if it's similar to LangChain. But you're going to have big multiples and big numbers on the valuation. And that's coming, in my judgment. CJ Yukon, grab 5,000. All right, CJ Yukon. That's exactly how to do it. It's exactly how to do it. I mean, obviously, it would be better if we had sold at 45 and are buying back at 25. But, you got to take the game in the inning it's in. If we keep focusing on the first inning, the game could be bottom of the ninth with their closer coming on, and there's nothing left to do. That's a good price, CJ Yukon. I wish I had money to buy right now. I don't, but I'm so glad you guys are. Ward Richardson, Rail Engine is positioning itself as a data backbone standard in the, Railtown is positioning itself as a data backbone standard in the $7 trillion data center industry. Well, think that through, Ward. They're going to prove the concept on the best data center in Canada that has no customers right now. So it's kind of virgin capacity, and they'll be able to ramp that up. My guess is it's going to be very successful, but I mean, that's one of the slips between cup and lip is execution. But man, if they prove that concept, and if they are, you said a standard, what if they're the standard? Although I think LangChain is trying to define themselves as a standard for something. But just imagine. What if all data centers or many data centers needed it? And I go back to my idea that Microsoft might buy the company. If Microsoft buys it based on a valuation of the Usamigami and the Kamloops data centers revenue, and they pay up, and to me, that's like, wow, I can't believe they're paying that much. They issue stock, but then they make the product mandatory because it's good on their 420 data centers. That can then turn into a revenue source for Microsoft. I don't even know how to begin to calculate the increase in valuation Microsoft could give to its acquisition of Railtown if the company, the division, went from 2 data centers using Rail Engine to 425. I mean, Microsoft could create its own value story. That's why I think it's going to be bought out. Doesn't mean it is. And, if I ever get anything correct, don't give me credit for it, because I've been wrong all along. Dirty Randy, we are 27 because of Corey and his buddies at Canaccord. Well, I'm not sure. I think Corey has friends at Canaccord, but I'm not sure Corey understands, or even people I talk to understand what Canaccord can do on its market making side and its stock loan side and its prime broker side. But they have 3,000 some employees. I doubt even 15 of Canaccord's overall employees have any clue about the flashboy trading and the computerized destruction of every company's market cap. So both things can be true. Corey can have friends at Canaccord, and Corey and all the insiders can hold their shares at Canaccord, and they're restricted. But this is something you understand, Dirty Randy, that a lot of honest people just cannot bring themselves to even think about. Railtown has insider holdings of, let's say, 50 million, probably a little more than 50 million shares. And maybe let's say they're all held at Canaccord, and let's say they're all restricted. Well, they can't trade them. They can't short them. No, that's not happening. But you and I know that once those shares are in the system, they're restricted. They're supposedly segregated, but they can be used up in the pooling of certificates at the DTs. I don't know what it is in Canada, but they can use it for derivatives, to sell derivatives and to lend out stock. They're not supposed to, but they do. It gives them the ability to lend out endless amounts of shares for their profit center, which is the stock loan desk in Toronto. But it doesn't mean Corey knows about that. Doesn't mean Corey's friends at Canaccord know about it. And it doesn't mean really smart people who are talking to them and trying to understand it and consider themselves sophisticated can even perceive the risk. But I happen to agree with you, Dirty Randy, that Canaccord Genuity very likely is using the 50 million shares and perhaps not everybody knows it, but the stock loan desk, perhaps a quasi-honest attorney or two, very careful in how she fills out the forms. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, obviously you can't know because they do it in the dark. They do it in the shadows. But I wouldn't be surprised to find out that Canaccord Genuity's prime broker or its so-called market maker operations, which it's just computers. It's not real market makers, allows for the hypothecation and rehypothecation of shares when they shouldn't be doing it, even if they are restricted. The closest analogy I can give is when Jeff Easton at Lynn Partners gets Martin Shen to sign a toxic convertible note 3 years ago. The company has to put Finger Motion has to put into the transfer agent shares that are available for when Jeff Easton's 4 clients, there's 4 hedge funds, when they asked Jeff Easton at Lynn Partners to submit a request to issue shares based on the backward-looking toxic formula, those shares have to already be issued and ready to go at the transfer agent. But why CEOs don't see this as a trap, I don't know. But the shorting and the selling of the stock and the rehypothecation of the stock is not allowed by security law. You have to locate in writing or borrow the shares you're going to sell and be able to deliver them by settlement date. But they ignore that rule because they get attorneys who are the same firms that bail out the Kramers, bail out Jeff Easton, are paid by Stevie Cohen, those same law firms where the SEC people want to get a job. The attorneys elide the 6-month rule. And they say, hey, fill out the form, okay. And the lending desk knows that if they extend credit by allowing shares to be sold and sold and sold and sold, that in 6 months, there are going to be shares available. So they just have to bridge that 6 months. And it's not really risk. They know it's all rigged. But if the stock for some reason went up, they just have to bridge to that 6-month date. How do they do it? Derivatives. They offload the risk. It is a massive scheme of pennies and hedging risks. The only people taking the risk are retail that listen to the charm boys. And here in Railtown, the delay in executing the plan in 2025, I can see why. TELUS is fantastic. AIP is amazing. I can see all that. But the punishment is retail investors just have to endure excruciating, ongoing drip, 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 red, 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 sale of stock that doesn't exist while the company gets its ducks in a row. But that's just the system. That's just the system. And I don't know how to change it. I had a good call yesterday with NextBridge, and you guys are in great hands at NextBridge. If you got to move your shares from MMTLP to NextBridge. I just can't tell you how fortunate you are. And I am. I have the stock too. To have Greg McCabe running that company. He is taking it on his own shoulders, and he's committed to seeing this out. And I learned again, as I say over and over to you, any deal or any payout or any settlement or anything is going to apply. If it's initially lined up for MMTLP, it's going to apply. And the option to accept it is going to be given to NextBridge as well. NextBridge shareholders. But you're crazy if you don't move your shares. This Panther project failed. And I don't have it. We can go through it in a second. I think I still have it there to read to you. But I think they had 4 or 5 Wildcat wells they're participating in. Well, Wildcat used to mean 20% odds of success. I would think for planning purposes, 5% to 20% odds of success. Even if you do all sorts of, I hate this word they use, closeology, and you use seismic, you use the old, if it exists, one line or whatever, seismic, or if you do 3D seismic. A lot of times you don't do that because it's too expensive. And you just go on the results of nearby wells and the 1 or 2 line seismic that's already in existence. But anyway, one of the things that you shouldn't get excited about is if, let's say, you have 6 Wildcat wells to drill. That doesn't increase your odds on any one well. The odds on any one of those wells is exactly the same as if you were drilling 1 well. So what that means is they all could be dry holes or commercially fail. But, and this is something I know, even if you have a small percentage of one of those wells and is successful, it's a company maker. It can transform the company. And so they're drilling those. They also still have further financials and SEC refilings to do, and filings, and they're going to get it done. Any other company, your company would be dead and gone, like MMAT, or pick one. But he's putting his own efforts and monies up, and he's going to see it through. But anyway, they're going to raise money after they get all that done. And he's fully aware of what the shorts do. but I don't know if he's going to be able to get away from them completely. But man, you got to move your shares over to NextBridge. Help him out, help yourself out. Anyway, I can see your point, Dirty Randy. On the other hand, what we can do about it right now is buy shares or hold on. I mean, I wish I had been able to say to people, you know, I have a story coming up and I want you to study it. And why don't we buy it in December? But, you know, if we make it through December, Flying Bus Driver, hey, added today. All right. I love it. I love it. I love it. That's awesome, Flying Bus Driver. Ward Richardson. Ward is clapping at something about Pat M. And I don't know what Pat M. Oh, bought 10,000 more. That's why. Pat did a great thing. And Ward Richardson is saying, good job to CJ Yukon. Goulash is saying, told you so, why didn't you listen? Well, you're talking, Goulash, you're talking about short-term trading. And you were bragging. And you were actually foretelling the laws all of you guys were going to break working with each other. But it doesn't change the fundamentals, Goulash. The fundamentals are pretty simple. They're pretty simple. And I'm not sure, Goulash, that once the story is known on Bay Street and Wall Street, that people are going to be able to sell out, day trade, and get back in. That one of the risks with Railtown is if somebody listens to you and sells out, they may, like, I don't know, Flying Bus Driver, 105,000 shares. If he listened to you, he might have, in retrospect, I admit that, he might have been able to sell it at 35 cents and buy it back at 27 cents. Because you guys are still turning on the mimeograph machine. You're still hypothecating and rehypothecating. But there's going to come a time when you stop doing that. And you'll be on with something else. And so if this is what was a risk, if Flying Bus Drivers sold 100,000 shares at 40 cents a month ago, and the next week, Telus, who is like the, the herd of elephants over the ridge, you never know when they're going to show up. Telus could announce, hey, we're doing this revenue deal, we're doing this and that, and bing, bing, boom, boom, and the stock's $1. Well, Flying Bus Driver would never get back in, but you wouldn't care. You'd be off to your other stocks, bragging with those audiences, and he'd be out. Now, in retrospect, it's crystal clear in retrospect. Everybody should have sold at 60 cents, 55 cents, 45 cents, 40 cents, even 35 cents, and be buying back today. But you know what? The volume I'm showing right now is 180,000. I don't know where the rest of that dark pool volume went. I'm not sure we could all get in, even today. So it's great that you're patting yourself on the back because your prediction was that your criminal collusion and all of the guys selling stock together, walking it down, the same system they do in every single stock, you knew it's going to work. You're able to trade on inside information. You don't have to put out a press release. Hey, world, we're going to walk Railtown down from 70 cents to 22 cents, and we're going to take 3 months to do it. We're going to cheat. We're going to use fake accounts. We're going to lie about our orders. We're going to sell 30 times the amount of shares that are available each day, but we're going to settle up after the market closes, and then we're going to tell the regulators that we're market neutral, but we're going to walk it down. You don't have to disclose that. I don't know why. For some reason, the SEC and the regulators in Canada require companies to disclose everything that could affect a person's decision to sell or to buy the stock. But they don't make you do it. It's really weird. Really weird. It's not even weird. It's corrupt. I would argue that Brandon Neely's friend, when TELUS and Railtown finally disclose whatever they need to disclose, and the stock's $1.50, I would say they have a lawsuit against you, Goulash, but you don't give your real name. And they have a lawsuit against possibly Canaccord, but against the so-called market makers and the people that lent the stock. And I would imagine they'll include the company. It's unfortunate. I think Brandon Neely's friend got robbed by you because you have information he didn't understand. If you had been required to put out a press release when the stock was 70 cents and you started selling it, hey, the SEC requires us to let you know that I, Goulash, in conjunction with 3 or 4 other groups of men from Burroughs Park, Miami, and Toronto, we're going to start selling this stock down. We're going to collude with each other. We're going to spoof. We're going to cross. We're going to pretend to have orders for sale out there, and we're going to walk this boy down. I think you guys need to disclose that, but you don't, because you own the attorneys. And in your arrogance and self-satisfaction, you can actually come on here and brag about it. Unbelievable. Anyway, the Goulash, one thing is, we know that 120 million we know right now 120 million is spent on hosting at other hyperscalers by 125 of the AIP network companies. We know this. Where is it? It's in the corporate presentation, but it was also in the excellent interview that Rebecca Kurzweil had with Dr. Tom Core, the founder and CEO of AIP Partners. He would know. We know they're going to move all of that to the data center at TELUS. We know that. How do we know that? It's in the presentation, again, from the interview. And also there was a press release highlighting the two companies working together. So we know that. And Dr. Tom Core said this would happen. What we don't know for sure is what's the percentage split that goes to they're gonna split the compute revenue at the TELUS data center between TELUS and Railtown. Again, it's all disclosed. That split we don't know. My guess is it's not 10%, and it's certainly not 50%. I don't think it's going to be a low split to Railtown. Otherwise, why do it? I don't think it's going to be 50-50. I think it'll be somewhere in between here. I don't know. You can pick any number you want. I personally think 20% makes sense to me, but you can use a lower one. So we know all this, Goulash. So if we use 20% on 120 million, and remember, that's leaving out revenue from Railtown's products elsewhere. That's leaving out 75 maybe companies in the network, a growing network. That's leaving out growth in the 125 companies spend. And you know what else it's leaving out, Goulash? TELUS is going to move its own customers to the TELUS data center using upselling to the conductor frameworks. The Railtown framework is the critical piece by decision or because it is, but TELUS is going to run their own business, their own clients through Railtown. At least that's how I read both the press releases and the corporate presentation. Now, it could be maybe they're only going to move some of them, but Goulash, TELUS is a $30 billion company with $20 billion in revenue. And at the last earnings call, the CEO, Mr. Entwistle, stated more than once to the public, full disclosure, that he expects to get his annual revenue for TELUS in the AI-enabled revenue, that's data centers, as I read it, from 800 million Canadian to 2 billion Canadian or more over the next 2 years. 2 billion. Well, how do you go from 800 million to 2 billion unless it's the new AI data center? I Googled it. That's the one. That's the data center ready to go in Canada. The rest are all in various stages of planning and processing and building. So, Goulash, it is quite possible that $1 billion worth of revenue or more will go through the TELUS data center and the critical component will be Railtown, and they'll have a revenue sharing deal. And if you put 20% on $1 billion, That's 200 million. But I'm ignoring that. We're ignoring all other revenue. Just this 120 million. That gives you $24 million in annual recurring revenue at that gives you 24 million in revenue at almost 100% payout. So what multiple do you put on 24? Remember, we're ignoring all other revenue. I would say you put a high number here. 100? 90 like they did on Lang Chain? 35 like SoundHound used to be? 150 or 205 as recent valuations were funded? I say we just use 25x, which I think is really low, to start with. So you take 24 million times 25x, that's $600 million. It's not all that exciting, is it? And you divide it by 225 million shares, because guess what, Goulash? You all were not successful in getting the company to do toxic financing or in having to issue more shares to buy out AIP. We know the denominator. The denominator did not go up. So that was a failure of your strategy. Based on those two numbers, 120 million in revenue at 20%, we don't know that for sure. We don't know this number for sure, but it's a guess. And we don't know this multiple. I think the multiple will be closer to 100x. But at 25x, it gives you, Goulash, it gives you a target of $2.67 a share. $2.67 a share. So if someone followed your advice, which is purely self-serving, there was a risk that revenue could clarify a month ago in a week, and this stock could be up. And someone who sold out based on your braggadocio, and your collusion, your criminal collusion with your buddies, could have missed out on the stock snapping to $1.50, $2.50. It didn't happen. That's true. It didn't happen. But it was a risk. And I personally think, for example, Brandon's friend who stopped out at 25 cents, and everybody's got to make their own decisions. That's what he's comfortable with. I don't think he's going to get back in the stock. And the stock could be 250 in February or sooner. So I think that's why I didn't listen to you. But man, we've given you a lot of time here today. Ward Richardson congratulates flying bus driver. Goulash, is William still putting up the stained toilet paper across your face every day and reading shit? Bottom line, 24 cents. Fact. All right, guys, I would take this seriously. I would take this seriously because Goulash doesn't get enough attaboying and you're such a great guy at home. And he works in the shadows. He knows what he does is, it's repetitive and boring. So he needs to brag. I would take his target of 24 cents seriously. It could happen. So if it does happen, it'll be one day. This morning, when it hit 25 cents, it was basically 30 minutes of the day. So one thing you can do he's saying it's a fact, put in orders to buy at 24 cents. Don't sell. Go in and buy. But just put a GTC order in or a day order in to buy your stock at 24 and a quarter, 0.2425. Beat him at his own game. Goulash, why are you still here? Is it because you still have a position to cover? Goulash says William can paint it any way he wants to, and his accomplices. Who are my accomplices? I feel very alone. People don't call me anymore. People don't take my calls. I don't have any accomplices. Can call me a shill or criminal as much as they want. I do. I think you are working with the shorts. Fact is, 14 million shares now reduced to half or a third of the value. That's not accurate. It's not accurate. I bet our average price is around 35 cents. Maybe 40 cents. So maybe you're right, down a third. But it's temporary, Goulash. It's because of your machinations. If that list is ever genuine in the first place. Does it scare you? Because I'm going to do my best that people don't sell this. And we're going to work together. As soon as we make money, we're going to fund, with the help of others, we'll fund lobbyists and a shine the light on the crap you do so you don't make money doing this anymore. But that's down the road. Have fun, And, if you need someone to say you're doing a great job, congratulations. You're really good at what you do, Goulash. Yes, E. Belanger, I got your email, and that's partly why the number went up, was your email from December 9th. Still putting up the shit paper saying 16, but the price keeps going. Yes, we know why it's going. It won't go down forever. Goulash, enjoy it. Make some money. I hope you get a big bonus. Make all the money you want. It's giving us a chance to buy the stock. And once it goes up, we're never going to be in these stocks that you and the Charm Boys, and I'm not saying they work with you at all. I'm just saying the whole milieu, we're leaving. And you're welcome to it. You'll be in your own hell making money. And then when you're my age, you'll be able to look back and say, wow, what a life I lived. I lived the most fulfilling life. You can see the boiled up frustration. Yeah, I have some frustration. Matter of time. He may self-harm. What a loser. E. Belanger. Goulash, do you own this? No, he's working with the shorts. Suze, wow. Wow. Coming in like the hero or heroine or hero at the end of a movie. That's great. Well, I'm sure that Goulash and his friends sold it to you. Good job. He may self-harm. No, I'm not going to self-harm. Daily preaching and daily reading of same old past news only shows the level of discomfort and nerve wreck this guy is feeling after leading everyone down the rabbit hole with unknown consequences. That's not true. I've been stressed out, particularly about one relationship in my life, and I've been stressed out about short-term, in the scheme of things, small, short-term cash flow issues. But otherwise, you know, my general frustrations, you know, they're the same as many people go through. I don't have my dog, you know, don't have, you know, love is lost. And, you know, most of my family is gone. So, you know, I go through the holiday stress of being alone. And, you know, a few years ago, I'd go out and be at a bar, but I don't find that all that useful anymore. So yeah, I've got those kind of things going on. I'm not as collected, and I'm not in as good a place as you are, Ghoulish. I mean, it's obvious from your posts that you're in a good place. You feel good about yourself, what you're doing, and you share goodwill, good cheer, and positive experiences with the world around you. I'm not in as good a shape as you are, but I'm doing my best. So we'll see what happens. Goulash, correction, leading down the shithole. Goulash, icing on the cake. Which universe are you living in? Baghdad Bob. Even Corey will find this psychotic. Probably. Where's the $6 I promised by September? I never promised it. I never promised it. I gave targets, and I admit I was wrong. I'm not sure I said $6 by September, though. I don't remember. I still think, Goulash, let me give you a number. Let me give you a number, Goulash, while and you'll be gone. You'll be on to another stock. You just need to close out this position, buy enough time to move your shares, and then close out some of it by the end of the year so you can get your bonus. And you'll be on to others. But let's assume over time, heck, let's go big. Let's assume over time that the shared revenue from AIP grows, the shared revenue grows over time to 250 million. And let's say TELUS, and this is going to be a big number, I have no way of backing this up, but let's say TELUS is able to generate new revenue with its data center in the future of 1.25 billion. And it all runs through shared revenue. So that's 1.5 billion. And it could be 3 years from now. I'm not saying right away. just projected. 1.5 billion. All right. Let's say instead of 20%, the revenue split is 15%. So I'm helping you out there a little bit instead of using 20%. So that means 225 million. That means 225 million in annual recurring revenue. Guess what, Goulash? You guys didn't get the denominator changed. They have fewer than 225 million shares outstanding. So we can go through this with a multiple, and I'll do it quickly. At 225, and we're leaving out all the revenue from the roll-up of 400 million. We're leaving out all of the revenue that the 5 products are able to do elsewhere. We're leaving out all revenue that might come. This is just one data center. What if Microsoft were to get involved and it goes to 400 data centers? What if Canada's 200 data centers use it? I mean, you can start extrapolating really big numbers. But if you use 225 and it is priced at let's just price it at the SoundHound number of 35. I won't go to Lang Chang's number. That's 7.875 billion in market valuation. That's $35 a share. So it didn't happen in September. Let me put it another way. You divide this by 225 million shares, fully diluted. You have $1 a share in annual recurring revenues projected in the future. So you discount it. And it's going to be cash flow. $1 a share. Goulash, $1 a share projected in the future. So let's have some fun with $1 a share projected. Let's have some fun with that. Let's say that it's crap. You use too much. All right, so let's start out by having fun with 25 cents a share. We'll knock 75% off. Let's use 7x, 10x, 25x, 50x, and 75x. Let's just see what it works out to, Goulash. At 25 cents a share in annual revenue. We'll use a multiple of 7x in oil and gas revenue, not a technology revenue. That equals a target of $1.75 a share. At 10x, you can figure that out. That's $2.50. And at 25x, it's $6.25. What do you think, Goulash, that could happen? To you, it'll never happen, but you'll be gone. But I'll tell you, it could happen in the first quarter. I'm not saying it will for sure, but it could. At 50x, you've got 1250. And at 75x, these are your target prices, not at $1 per share ARR, 25 cents per share ARR. If the multiple given is 7x, you've got $1.75. If it's 75x, which is possible since we left off a lot of revenue, your target is $18. But I'd say right in here at 25 is a good number, $6. How quickly could that happen, Goulash? It could happen as soon as the company or TELUS or whatever other news releases whatever the material information which has not been disclosed. Remember, the company has to follow security laws. You forget that because you don't. And you don't have to. You don't follow them, and you don't have to. You know what gets exciting is if you use $1 a share in the future, and you use 25x, that's $25. If you use 7x, it's $7. If you use 50x, it's $50. I mean, the numbers get pretty exciting quickly, and they will. And it could have happened. It just didn't. Microsoft buy this company. Are you okay? Where are you plugging these news? Goulash, you might want to check on Williams' 3-year history. Yeah. You aware he's begging for money now? I don't think I'm begging. I don't think I'm begging. Oh, man. All right. That's enough. That's enough. You were attacking me. Now you're attacking other people. That's enough. You're gone. You are gone. All right, let's go back up here to Rail Engine. That's great, Suze. I got that one, 12,705. It's awesome. And Ward Richardson, Rail Engine is the icing on the cake here. Yeah, I like the name Rail Engine. The icing is going to be when they finally can I don't know if it's Railtown. That's the reason I'm hesitating. It might be TELUS. It might be somebody else. You know, it could be the government of Ontario or the government of Quebec or the Indian tribe. Or I don't know. There's some information that clearly needs to be released before we can see buying. But it could be as simple as, Ward, what if this new data center was set up in the summer? It's got, as we read yesterday, something like it's got power efficiency to 3 times or something like that. It uses green power. He uses NVIDIA. You know, they got all the employees. They've got the gates and the guards and all that. What if they're going through trial runs with this huge computer, turning it on and off, putting it through its paces, trying to see if it works at full capacity, all those things. I mean, they've had a lot of, you know, they announced it in the summer, so it's been quite a few months. So what if they're ready to go? I have no idea, but what if they're ready to go? And Rail Engine is the plugin. And I'll just give a hypothetical. I have no idea. But LangChain seems to be a comparable. What if Railtown gets that kind of sign-up growth that LangChain did? It'd be huge. Of course, we don't, you know, we still don't know about the revenues. We still don't know about timing. We don't know anything. It's all a bunch of guessing. But I guess what I'm trying to say, Ward, it's possible that the company and TELUS, for whatever its reasons are, have not released everything because maybe they want it to come out in the beginning of next year as a new effort. And you know, so we're waiting. We're waiting, but now I think we've mostly accepted the situation we're in, and we're waiting 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe it's longer. Maybe it's the end of January or so, beginning of February. Who knows? We just don't know. But what if they're all working to make sure that when they open the doors, the restaurant gets a 5-star rating and it has a waiting list for the next 3 years? Maybe they're just getting everything ready for that, and it'll be next year, beginning of next year. I don't know. But yeah, I think Rail Engine and all of their tools, icing on the cake. I think they're the key component that makes TELUS's offering of its data center to companies successful. And I think Railtown gets a piece. That's how I read it. Hopefully they'll clarify that. But even if they only get some of it, it's going to be huge. Ward Richardson, I forgot that I said that info. So glad I did. It saved me a whole lot of typing. Yes, exactly. Giannis Kunis. I think that it's one of those. Can sense he's lost it. Yeah, I think I've lost it. AC stocks. If you're one of those people that are complaining that this stock is not $6 yet because William said so, then you obviously didn't listen to every other piece of advice he gave. Nightmare amount of advice. AC stocks. It's not his fault that he made choices based on limited information and limited brain power. Thank you, AC stocks. Hey, Donna. Good afternoon, William. I've blocked 2 shows today. Miserable excuses of humanity. I love it. Congratulations to everyone able to buy shares. I'll be buying in January. And AC Stock says, same. Merry Christmas, Donna. Donna says, Merry Christmas to you and AC Stocks. Donna says, happy. And happy Hanukkah. And happy Hanukkah. Yeah, I appreciate that, AC Stocks. I'm not going to read it out because you're, this isn't about me. It's about you guys. And, I almost didn't go on today. I was hoping there'd be a day that I could just do something else. But, if I had known this was going to take 8 months, I don't know. It's not what I signed up for. On the other hand, I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to quit. I'm not being paid by the company. I'm not receiving anything, shares, anything. I don't even receive a phone call. So we'll get through it. Ward Richardson applauses UAC Stocks. Yeah, Goulash, how much have you lost? You seem mad. Yeah, he did seem pretty angry. I just think he's helping. Now the volume's 500,000, sorry. They're just trying to move shares and close out positions. And they've got after today, they've got 4 full trading days to do it. They got a couple half days, 2 or 3 half days. But yeah, they're just trying to book their profits. They're pressing their bet. I would take him seriously that they're going to target 24 cents because he can't help but brag. And they may have it. They've walked it down for a long time. Today, they got it under 25 cents, which was the top of that line. Maybe they'll get it, for 30 minutes. They'll have somebody hit it and it'll go to 24 cents. I don't know. I'm not predicting that, but take it seriously. That gives you a chance to buy more, put orders to buy underneath. But certainly it's not a reason to get scared about the fundamentals of the company. I heard all the stuff that, Corey couldn't get AIP done. Well, I think there's reasons. I'm not sure Corey can control. Well, I don't even know. Are we waiting for something from TELUS, or are we waiting for it from Railtown? Somebody's got to tell us more information on their deal, but maybe there's something else out there too. But I think it's all going to be worth the wait. And now we're going into the holiday season. So I think it's best if we just plan on the middle of January, and anything in between is a buying opportunity. But the surprises will be to the upside. They still have 56,000 for sale. How is it every single day, every hour, 52.5? Now it says 56. That never gets filled? It is spoofing. It's illegal. Not as reversed as that bank account. Yeah, that's a good point, little square. They should find and stop market makers from using phone farms. I don't think the market makers do it. I think it's, look, there's some industrial scale activities going on, and the rest of these people just join in. And I think Donna summarized it. They're mostly lowlifes, you know. Silver skyrocket. Goulash is the shill for today. It is transparent. Hey, you know, it's interesting. They come in, they're not always here. They come in when they have a trade pending. And my guess is they're pushing their bet. They're trying to show performance so they can get their bonus. Nobody's selling this stock. Somebody asked why William doesn't have a job instead of shamelessly and openly asking for money. Well, it's funny that you put that there. I've worked pretty hard on this, and I've put other things aside to do this. Other people with YouTube channels, they set up memberships, they charge money, they do an interview with the CEO of Finger Motion, they charge access. I did my interviews for free. I paid my own way. I spend as much time doing this as a job would be. I do get your point. It's probably the wrong place to put my efforts. I was hoping to build something else. It looks like that's not going to happen, probably because of Railtown and your actions, not the company, your actions. But no, what's your suggestion? What job should I get? Is it, how does it help people? Well, I'm going to go get a job. I don't fit the parameters that the government's looking for, and I certainly don't fit the parameters of a lot of businesses. So, you know, I appreciate your ridicule, but I think what we're trying to do here has more upside for investors than if I go get a job. And we'll see. Maybe it leads to my being able to build a company or work with some people here and create something valuable. So we'll see. I appreciate. I mean, do you consider what you do as a job? I mean, you're getting paid, I guess. Yeah, it's interesting. Ward Richardson, hello, Donna M. Keep it, that's it. Keep buying. This story is getting bigger and bigger. I will have more news on Rail Engine later. So Anga somebody or other is waiting for my answer. I had enough of them. Donna, hello, Ward. Wonderful. Pat, that's how I got my 10 cents at 20. You did? Pat, bravo. So you put your order in to buy 10,000 at 25. That's brilliant. Brilliant. You must have already known how to do that. But yours is a good lesson for everybody. When stocks are under pressure, put orders in under the market to buy. Take advantage of it. Get in a fighting mood, an opportunistic mood. And I'll tell you what, Pat, that 10,000 shares, 60 days, 90 days, you're going to make, do you want me to be overly optimistic or just cautious? I think it's $5. You're going to make 20 times your money. 90 days, $5. But it could be much higher than that, you know? So since you have my total at, wow, I will. That's awesome. Let me make sure you didn't give me that yesterday, though. No, you didn't. You didn't. I'm thinking of somebody else. All right. That's awesome. I think we might be at a threshold of a new number. Good for you, E. Belanger. Bravo. And Ward congratulates you, Suze, and Ward congratulates you, E. And E. Belanger tells you, Ward, that it's 55 cents Canadian. That's a pretty good price. It's a pre-Christmas gift. That's right. Wow, you got some at 36.5 cents this morning. Unbelievable. You know, I'm not sure people at the company understand where the selling comes from, but I think you guys do get it. It's essentially an avalanche, a slow-moving avalanche of selling that never ends. But it will end with information and buying. All you need is one fund. But what if you get 2 or 3 funds who have research, it's gone past their investment committee, and they each want to have 4.9% of the company? They each want to own 10 million shares. Well, that stock's not available. And these guys who are pressing it down with non-existent shares, their line of credit's not going to work. Those companies, like Dirty Randy pointed out, when Canaccord Genuity, now it's showing 185,000, and then it shows 502,000. 2 different numbers for the volume on the day. So I'm going to guess the 185 is where real selling came in, like Brandon's friend 50,000. So then that leaves 135,000. There might be other tax selling. There might be other just people sick of it. But the difference between 185 and 502, I bet that the rest of that's all crapola selling. Ward Richardson, William or anyone, did they record the annual meeting? I don't think so. And I wish I had been. Maybe I can try again with the company and see if he'd do an interview. and maybe Ward, you, and maybe Eric or Brandon or the other gentleman. I'm in my brain. I have a Joe Biden brain, but maybe 2 or 3 of you guys and girls could come on and ask questions, you know, and not maybe I just doesn't have to be me. E. Belanger, fundamentals are completely unchanged. Exactly, completely unchanged, and well, the being listed on the Canadian Stock Exchange 25 is they were there before. That's a fluctuating thing. It's, I don't know how they calculate it, but it changes. I thought it was monthly, but I looked it up yesterday. It's every quarter. So they could drop off of it, I suppose. But I think it's much more likely that this company is going to go up the list, you know, the listing ladder. But we still have the same fundamental problem. For whatever reason, key material information needs to be disclosed, and it hasn't. Number one. Number two, in this period, this blackout period, there are real concerns that the company has lost its technological way. It's lost its technological advantage. The revenues at AIP are kind of, a lot of those companies don't even have a website. Here, let me, hang on a second.